this guy's garage. Like and subscribe.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Actually, I'm going to use this opportunity now to move my motion that I served on December the 8th. And I know the clerk will probably now try and find it and distribute it to members because they have a copy of it. But I will read it now, and so everyone can, as they're waiting for it, can understand what I'm doing. So, that the Special Committee on the Canada-People's Republic of China relationship express its deep disappointment that the Finance Minister ignored invitations sent by the committee and that the Minister of Finance has chosen not to appear during the committee's meetings on Canada's freeze in government-led activity with the Asia Infrastructure Investment Bank, and that this be reported to the House. Now, why I am moving this motion is because as I look at this now, the first invitations went to the Finance Minister's office on October the 27th. We are now on January the 29th. That is 4 months of our committee clerk sending requests to the Minister of Finance to give us dates to appear on the study. 4 months. And there has not been a single date that has been given to this committee. Mr. Stephen Kuhn from the Government of Canada said as follows, I am aware that there are instances of projects that have been approved by the AIIB where Canada and other partners around the board have raised questions about forced labour and where Canada's engagement has not allowed for those projects to be blocked as a result of that. So it's very clear that Canadian taxpayer dollars went into the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and then funded projects that may have used forced labour. And that the Finance Minister will not even give us a date to come and testify, I think is deeply disrespectful to this committee for not responding. It's deeply disrespectful to members of this committee to not have responded. And I think that the Minister should have responded and given us dates, and given that she's clearly not going to, we should express our deep disappointment in the Finance Minister. That's my move, and I move my motion. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Could we just have maybe some aspect of the back and forth between the clerk and the Department of Finance on appearance or anything that justified? Just on this issue. Just actually no, stopping this meeting that was extremely valuable for all of us.
The usual clerk of the committee told me that she did a lot of back and forth, and I don't have all of the details, but she did send me pretty much everything so that I am ready today for the meeting. So I can tell you that she did a lot of back and forth. And again, the last time on the 26th, she did some communications, and we're still waiting for a date.
All right.
That's 4 months.
Ms. McPherson.
Mr. Chair, I also would like to get back to the testimony, so I think we should try to wrap this up and have a vote as soon as possible. I will just say very quickly that this is a worrying trend for me, where ministers are refusing to come to committee, and this is not the only committee that I'm seeing this in. In fact, I just came this afternoon from the Foreign Affairs Committee, where we have also not been able to get either the International Development or the Foreign Affairs Minister to attend our committee. So for me, it is the dangerous precedent of ministers not making themselves available to committees when we have important information that we would like to ask them about.
I'll ask for a comment from Mr. Seaback, and then I'll go to you, Mr. Fragastatos, okay?
That's it. The wording of the motion is that the committee expresses deep disappointment that the Minister of Finance has ignored invitations sent by the committee, and the Minister of Finance has chosen not to appear during the committee's meetings on Canada's freeze in the government-led activity within the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, and that this be reported to the House.
Right. Mr. Fragastatos?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, again, these are matters that can easily be handled between MPs, not necessarily even at committee. I think Mr. Seaback is after some clips, theatrics, I'm not sure what. Move, Mr. Chair, that we adjourn debate on this motion.
compromise, or do we have to vote
motion,
now?
unfortunately, there's no debate on that one. We will need to take a vote to adjourn debate on this particular motion. Madam Clerk, I'll ask you to call the roll.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the motion is that the debate on this motion be adjourned. Monsieur Cormier,
Wait.
Mr. Fragiscatos.
Yes.
Madame Lalonde.
Oui.
Ms. Damoff.
Yes.
Ms. Yip.
Yes.
Mr. Fast.
No.
Mr. Kimich.
No.
Ms. Landsman.
No.
Mr. Seaback.
No.
Monsieur Bergeron.
No.
Ms. McPherson.
No.
Yeas 5, nays 6.
So we continue. All right. You wanted another shot, didn't you now? All right, Ms. McPherson, go
I
ahead.
did. I'm wondering, just because this is a committee that does work really well together, and I'd like us to continue to work collaboratively, would it be possible to have a compromise where we have now moved this, but we choose to give the minister one more chance to come before the committee, and perhaps next week have that vote, knowing very clearly what the vote will be at that time, but that might give the minister the impetus, the get up and go to actually respond to our committee and come before our committee.
We have a motion on the floor, and you've essentially made another motion, Ms. McPherson. I have to then look to our clerk as to see which order we do things. Mr. Seaback.
I would consider it to be an amendment to the motion, but I would say that let's give one more week. Let's just amend the motion that if we don't have a date from the minister within a week, then we express our then.
Sure. Yeah, I can live with that.
We'll accept that as a friendly.
I will accept that as a friendly amendment. If we don't have a date within a week, then the committee will express its deep disappointment and report it to the House.
Mr. Chair, could we ask for a small suspension just to
Well, of course
review
you
this
can.
motion, please?
All right. Okay. We'll take a moment. Actually, because it was a friendly, I think we can just
No,
vote on the
we
whole thing
still
as
should
amended.
vote on the amendment.
You want to vote on the amendment first?
I don't think we have friendly amendments, do we? Anyway, I don't know. But anyway, we'll vote on Heather's amendment and then we'll deal with the rest of it.
Go ahead, Madam Clerk.
Yep, so the vote is on the amendment by Ms. McPherson.
Go ahead.
Monsieur Cormier.
No.
Mr. Fragiscatos.
No.
Bring it back.
Madame Lalonde.
No.
Ms. Damoff.
No?
Ms. Yip.
No.
Mr. Fast.
Yes.
Mr. Kimich.
Yes.
Ms. Landsman.
Yes.
Mr. Seaback.
Yes.
Monsieur Bergeron.
Oui.
Ms. McPherson.
Yes.
Yeas 6, nays 5.
So the amendment passes. We will now go to the main motion.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. We would like to bring a few amendments, actually, to this motion. So I'll start with the first one, if I may. That the Special Committee on the Canada People's Republic of China's relationship expresses that the Finance Minister was unable to appear. This is what we would like to add. And we would like to strike ignored invitation sent by the committee, and that the Minister of Finance has chosen not to appear. We would like to strike that as a first proposed amendment, please. I think the wording of it make it sound like the minister does nothing every day as Minister of Finance, and she has intentionally refused to come, which is probably not true.
Let's vote on it. Okay.
The vote is on the amendment by Madame Lalonde.
Monsieur Cormier.
Wait.
Mr. Fragiscatos.
Yes.
Madame Lalonde.
Oui.
Ms. Damoff.
Yes.
Ms. Yip.
Yes.
Mr. Fast.
No.
Mr. Kimich.
No.
Ms. Latsman.
No.
Mr. Seaback.
No.
Monsieur Bergeron.
No.
Ms. McPherson?
No.
Yeas 5, nays 6.
So we'll move, yes, Mr. Fragastatos.
Why don't we just agree here that if we haven't dealt with this in a week, we come back to Mr. Seaback's motion. We can do an honorable thing here and just agree. As Ms. McPherson said, we've worked well as a committee before. I'm willing to take that message back to the Department of Finance to make clear that we need an answer in the next few days.
So
I'd move to adjourn debate. I'd move to adjourn debate again, Mr. Chair, with everything I just said in mind.
You're going to adjourn the debate on your own
No.
amendment.
Just hold on, because has that amendment been received then? The one
well,
that
here's what I'm going to propose as chair. If the spirit of this is basically to give the minister a week to come up with a date, then we could, amongst us, agree that that's what we will do. We'll give the minister a week. And per your suggestion, Mr. Fragastatos, if we haven't got a date in a week's time, then we go back and we act on Mr. Seaback's motion.
Let's just vote on the motion as amended.
Oh, I have another amendment.
Yeah.
Okay. We have, well, Mr. Fragastatos says, actually, you've come up with basically a new motion.
Mr. Chair, I was just trying to find a way that we
I
could, strike an agreement tonight to give it another week.
What we do have is an amendment to the original motion that basically says if we don't have a date within a week, then that's the amendment that we have yet to vote on.
When Ms. Lalonde's amendment was defeated, I said that I was putting forward the spirit, if not the letter, of what Ms. Lalonde had just put forward, that was voted down, adding to it that if we hadn't heard back in a week, that we would revisit Mr. Seaback's motion.
Okay,
That's what I had put
that's your
forward.
amendment. Okay.
Right.
So if we deal with that as an amendment, then we can vote on that. This is an amendment to the motion,
Mm-hmm.
to
Yes.
Mr. Seaback's motion. State it again.
So everything that Ms. Lalonde had put forward, which the clerk already has the text of, adding to that the following, that if in 1 week the committee has not received a response from the Department of Finance, the committee proceed to the consideration on the motion from Mr. Seaback. Why did you vote down this amendment from Marie-France?
Because I don't think it's actually true. I do think she's actually ignored.
Well, no, it can't be. By definition, we just heard
For
that there's
4
been
months,
plenty
I
of
feel
correspondence.
like that's long enough to give
No,
us
you
to
guys
give
aren't
us a
serious.
date.
No, you're not. No, you're not serious.
We've had votes on suggested changes to some of the language to perhaps recharacterize the finance minister's reaction to the invitation to appear. We've had language suggested that we have voted on and that has been rejected. The amendment that Mr. Seaback has proposed, that in essence the chair believes does much the same as Mr. Fragastatos has indicated. 1 week, if there's no date, then the rest of this motion will be acted upon, basically that.
So I feel very disappointed that the first one was not agreed upon. As the motion is written, if you go towards the last part, it goes activity with the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank. I would strike that this be reported to the House and instead add that a committee requests a government response to this report.
I'm informed by the clerk that the only time you can get a government response is if there has been a report to the House. So, in essence, what we need to do is we would, if we expect the government to respond to this, we would have to report it to the House. But reporting it to the House is what you do to get a response.
to remind committee members, my amendment took what Ms. Lalonde had proposed about 10 or 15 minutes ago, added to it the point about waiting a week, at which point we'd return to Mr. Seeback's motion. That's all that it does. Pretty straightforward. So no, not at all. We say a week, and we'll see a response in a week, I'm sure. So that's where we are.
We have come to the end of our time, and I do not believe we have the facilities available to us beyond this. So I'm afraid I will have to call an end to the meeting. And in the meantime, perhaps we can come to crisp language and something that works and is satisfactory across the board.